Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I created this DIY Stussy bucket hat using a button-down shirt that I found in my closet. And yes, she is giving the girls a look, come through hair flip. Yes, ma'am. And so this is what the shirt looked like prior to me making the hat. So let's jump right into this tutorial. For this tutorial, you're going to need a few items. You're going to need a shirt or fabric of your choice. You're also going to need a bucket hat pattern. Now girls, I was lazy. Quarantine got your girl lazy. But I decided to download this pattern from the Essentials Club. I'm going to put a link in the description box below on where you can find the pattern. You're also going to need pins and fabric scissors. Now let's jump right into the pinning and cutting. If you're using fabric, this step is going to be a little easier. All you need to do is lay your fabric out and cut it. If you're using a ready-made garment, the challenge is going to be how you lay the fabric out. You want to make sure you have enough fabric for each pattern piece. You may have to do some adjusting and readjusting to get each pattern piece to fit. After measuring the headband piece, I decided to use the fabric from the sleeves. Now, you want to use every piece of the shirt that you can, because listen, we ain't throwing no fabric or clothes away around here. After measuring that piece with the sleeve, I'm going to pin it down to the sleeve and cut it out, and repeat that same step on the other sleeve. Now that I have both of my headband pieces cut out, I'm going to place those to the side and start working on the brim. For the brim, you're going to need to cut out 4 pieces. For the brim pieces, I decided to use the back portion of the shirt. So I'm going to cut out the front pieces and put them to the side. But do not, and I repeat, don't throw them away because we will need them later. After cutting off the front pieces, I fold the fabric in half and lay the brim piece down. I then took my pattern along with some pins to measure to see how many brim pieces I could get out of the back. I was able to get 3 pieces, and then I took the pocket off the front portion and was able to get another piece out of the front. And just like the headband piece, I'm going to pin this in place and cut it out 4 times. Now I'm done cutting out the brim in the headband. You should have 4 brim pieces and 2 headband pieces. Now we're going to move on to cutting out the top of the hat. I still have some fabric left over from the back, so I decided to cut my circle pieces out of the back piece. Now we have our circle top cut out along with our headband and our brim pieces, and now we can head over to the sewing machine to sew. So the first thing I did was I sewed the headband piece together, and I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance for the entire hat. So I sewed the headband piece together, and then I attached the circle top to the headband piece. And then after sewing the circle top and the headband piece together, I put that to the side and I started to work on the brim piece of the hat. Now, it's kind of hard to explain the brim. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but not really. So you cut out 4 brim pieces. And so basically you're going to have 2 brim pieces. One that will be shown, and then the other one that'll basically be the lining that'll be underneath the hat. So what you want to do is sew 2 pieces together, 2 pieces together. And then you want to attach those 2 pieces by sewing along the outside edge, wrong sides to wrong sides together. And then what you want to do is cut the seam allowance on the outside edge down. So you want to use pinking shears, cut that down because it'll reduce bulk on your hat. And then what you want to do is top stitch around that brim piece at about 1/2 inch, maybe for 2 or 3 lines, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many lines you want to do, but you want to top stitch around. It'll kind of give it that bucket hat feel, even though on mine you can't really see it because the fabric itself is white, and even though there is black writing on it, you still can't really see the thread. But if you're using like black fabric or red fabric or whatever you're using, there's a good chance you'll see it. And if you use contrasting thread, then it'll definitely show up. So you want to top stitch around a couple times. And then the last thing you want to do is take that brim piece and attach it to the headband. And because I didn't line my hat, which I should have, but I also just didn't have a lot of fabric, I probably could have lined it. I should have laid my fabric out a little bit better. I could have had enough fabric to line the hat. But what I did to stop the fraying is I used my pinking shears and I cut the entire hat around. So I cut the seam allowance down over where I sewed the brim to the headband, and then I also cut it down where I sewed the circle piece to the top piece. And when you're done, your hat should look a little something like this. Thanks for watching today's tutorial, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.